last few meetings a lot with getting what felt like nowhere until the most recent meeting. Doug came to it, and we went back to something that Rick had proposed to try and better understand it, I think. So one of the issues that Bill had brought up was that the circle creates problems for a lot of cul-de-sac lots. And it doesn't really address irregular lots, and there was also some desire to have provisions for flag lots. What I had come up with to address the cul-de-sac issue was that use a semicircle, because then you don't have to worry about the front of the circle crossing over the boundaries, which was the concern with the cul-de-sac lots. So this is what I had come up with for diagrams of what it would be. I wish Doug was here. He kind of was favoring the full circle still, but with the caveat that the front of the circle can cross over the property lines between the front setback and the street frontage. I think that gets a little wordy, which again is why I think that the half circle is easier.
Well, it seems like the half circle attends to the width, which is what we're
talking about
trying
lot
to do.
width.
So because it looks like you go automatically, the Y goes up and then it's the half circle. Like I feel like that's we're talking about the width of the lot, which is what we're.
Can I see one
I
of
don't
those?
know. I think that addresses that as well.
And not the whole circumference of the,
Right, so Y is the minimum front yard setback. So you need the lot width at that point, and the circle has to fit within the rear part of the lot. And
Do
the
you
house
like
would be
that?
behind that.
I haven't seen it.
oh, you haven't seen it?
Right, so that's why you're here.
It's new to me.
Okay.
It's really no different than what Rick had been proposing 10 years ago or however long it was, other than it's a half circle instead of a full circle, and I took some wording out of the definition.
Now, was Rick working with the semicircles or the full
The
circles?
full circle. So Rick's definition was the minimum lot width shall be measured by the diameter of a circle as required by table 6.1a, which measurement shall require that the circle fit within the boundaries of a lot's required minimum front setback and shall be maintained to the front setback of the principal structure. The circumference of the circle may cross over the boundaries of the lot between the lot's frontage and the minimum front setback, but may not cross over any other boundary.
So
by
no,
using a
no
half
sidelines,
circle-
right? I mean,
No.
basically is what it says.
No, it has to fit in the side lot.
I mean, it can't go over the sidelines.
Correct, yeah. Or the rear lot line,
The rear lot line or the rear setback?
the rear lot line.
At the actual lot line, okay.
What do you
Okay,
think
what do you
about
think?
using that?
Well, it's all right, I guess.
What don't you like about it?
Well, you do have some builders that make some crazy lots where they'll try to get the 75-foot frontage and they'll do a crazy, like, small little triangle like that, and then.
Right, but
And
the.
they go-
That's
the-
different, yeah, that's
But with
a
a
flag lot.
semicircle, it'll work, you know?
So, my thought was that the largest minimum front yard setback, so the greatest distance from the street to that X line is 40 feet. To go from 75 feet to the lot width of 125 or whatever it is, even if you do go in narrow, nobody's building in that
Yeah.
area.
We talked about not allowing that. Do you remember that, Bill?
So why is, no matter what, always the minimum setback? They can't back that circle up, right?
No.
No.
Okay.
It has to be at the, so
You
that
gotta
was.
start there.
Even
Okay.
if they do get really crazy in that front 40 feet, it's not gonna be buildable for anybody anyhow, so.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna have houses on top of each other.
Because we were talking about like if they did a few of them, do you know what I mean, and just kept stacking them.
So, Jill, I think you're getting into the flag lots, which is
Oh, that was a
another,
flag lot, okay.
which we also,
Made it
Put
so they
together
can't
some
do that,
standards.
right?
yes, so flag lots, this bottom portion, thanks. So we did the provisions for flag lots, and based on feedback from the last meeting, you have to have 75 feet.
Can I have one more than Allison?
Yep. The standards were that you have to have at least 75 feet of frontage, which is what we already require, and then the pole can't get any narrower than 75 feet. And then there's some additional requirements.
Is that our biggest fire truck still?
I don't know, I didn't get to that point with the fire department.
No. I'm just curious if this was written like a long time ago.
Yeah, it would be worth checking in with them.
There's language in the building code for access drives for fire departments, and maybe you should mirror that language. And I don't know what.
That might have been what this was, or it might have been Rick talked with the fire department, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know if I heard, but there is language similar to this with the minimum access.
To number
drive.
6.
And it's in the building.
Two flag lots can have.
Right, so you can't have two poles next to each other.
Oh, okay.
The flag portions can touch, but the poles can't. Which was a thing that got brought up last time. And what that does is, and what Jill was talking about, is so that you don't have one, so you start out with one big lot, and then they carve out this flag lot, and there's a house here, and then they carve out another one, and they put a house here, and then there's a house here. So that they can't keep doing that, because these poles are touching. Because there are a lot of relatively narrow but deep lots in town, so
Mhm.
this could,
Frank's coming, he's running late.
So what was the, and I don't mean to go back, but what's the, like the last meeting, what was the discussion about this? This is new, you just did this today for this meeting?
no, we had it at the last meeting,
So
and
what
it
was the
was
problem?
tweaked a little bit.
What were the arguments against it? I guess I should say, what did Frank say?
Little tiny side, like the flat, like you just barely have any room with the flag lot. And then making it too small so that they're touching and not leaving enough space between the driveways.
So the general conversation on the lot width was okay?
Yeah.
Semicircle idea?
It was, the only thing that was up in the air was whether or not it's the half circle or the full circle.
Right.
Which I've given you definitions on
Mhm.
this sheet for both
Mm-hmm.
that work, I think. But there was only like 3 of us here, so that's kind of why. And Frank had some comments about the flag lots that he wanted, I had like 60 feet before, and now it's up to 75,
Mhm.
something that he wanted.
Okay.
So there weren't major conflicts, it was just tweaking it and then also hoping
Yeah.
to get a wider.
Opinion of what everybody else wanted.
Okay.
Like being on the planning board, flag lots were a major issue.
Good, how are you?
So that's like why Allison said keep them separate and then just raise the requirements a little bit, and you can still have them, but it's just makes it more aesthetically better for the neighborhood. You were here with that, Bill, right? I mean, what did you think? We're pretty much okay?
I think last week we pretty much went
Beat
through
this
it pretty
down.
good.
Yeah.
The ordinance that was written some time ago that was proposed, we kind of went through it as if we had implemented it, and we tried experimenting with how it works or doesn't work, and it seems to, the ultimate thing is you guys are making a decision, you're gonna make flag lots more restrictive, which is, smart growth planning kind of thing, and, you know, Mr. Burke, who's, you know, obviously in the business, he realizes the importance of them and how they need to be.
Well, they're a fact of life.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how any community gets away from them, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying, you just need to deal with them.
You have to
Yeah.
have them, and we went through the dimensions the other, last week or whatever it was, just to determine whether you guys were comfortable with the dimension. The minimum of 50 foot wide at any point, so you don't get somebody pitching,
75.
went up to
That's
75.
what Frank wanted.
So it doesn't get pinched down to, you get a very narrow little, you know, point where somebody's trying to squeeze a driveway through 30 feet and there's
Yeah.
no,
Yeah, I don't think that's enough. I think 75 is pretty generous. 60, I thought was a pretty good compromise, but it's another 15 feet, so I don't see it being a big issue.
Well, the issue that Frank had with this, because you want 75 feet of frontage, and then if
You
you
have to have
allow
that
them to
anyway.
go down to 60, then you get that funnel
Yeah.
type shape, and he thought that's stupid,
Just keep it 70.
Yeah, all the way back.
consistent.
Okay.
So, but we didn't really move on it mostly because, like we said, there was only a few of us here.
Yeah.
but the
I
other
mean, I
thing
think you
about.
guys, I don't know, you know, like, and I said this from the beginning, I don't know enough about, like, the application of lot width and the, I don't, so if you guys are in agreement that the semicircle is,
I think the full circle helps with the building envelope component of it. Because when
What
you
does
get
that
into
mean?
that second portion of it, the flag lot.
Oh, so I have full circle in the flag lot provisions. You have to
Okay.
be able to draw a full circle with a diameter equal to 1.5 times the minimum width
right, it's just a semicircle and.
for a,
Regular lot, yeah.
because it.
Are you guys
You
okay
can
with that?
use You can use either semicircle or a circle, it does, I just,
Right.
if, I know you guys got hung up about the circle crossing the front line.
Mhm.
Right,
It always will, because the circle's either 100 or 125 or 150.
Right.
Your front yard setbacks are only
40 at the most, I think.
30,
Yeah.
40.
30 and 40, yeah.
30, 40, so yes, that front circle, the front half of the circle is gonna cross the front property line, but that's,
so would a builder automatically know that? I mean, I wouldn't know that, just,
No, you have to have the phrasing in the definition or the description to make it less wordy was kind
Yeah.
of where the, I was looking at.
so we went over, it, you know, real quickly last time, just kind of diagrammatically, just doing a, you know, any lot, whatever it is, here's the street, you would go the, let's say the 40-foot setback line, at that point is where you have to get that circle, that 150-foot circle. And, you know, that's not gonna happen if that's 40, you know, from the center of the circle, that's 150, so the circle is always gonna cross the front property line. So at the
But that's
40.
okay, because it meets
It
the
is
setback
okay.
requirement.
This one,
Right.
in this case, the way I drew it, yes, it meets it because
It
at
stays inside the
40
lines.
foot back, it is 100 and,
Whatever it's
Which is
supposed to
actually
be,
what,
yeah.
which is why when you do the semicircle, it just kind of takes out that,
it
takes
does.
out that front portion, yeah.
like the way it looks, I think this
Right.
probably looks, like, I don't know. 'Cause
Yeah,
this is
it's
what
like
you're
it's
trying,
like-
Yeah.
that's what you're trying to accomplish, is
yeah.
just what's on the second half of
Yeah.
that, so.
It eliminates this
Yeah.
component of it.
I like the semicircle because it's cleaner to me. I would be wondering, like, what's the other half of it supposed to do?
It is less restrictive.
But that's why I asked if a builder,
It is less restrictive than if you require it, the circle to fit within the side lot lines though.
Say that again?
So the semicircle, you can, between the front setback and the street line,
Yeah.
it can cross over the side lot lines, but you could, if you did the full circle, you could have it so that only the circle could only cross over the street.
Right,
Into
so
the
like it had to
street.
continue here as a full circle, right?
Right, but it has to fit within those side lines.
Right, so
You
this-
can't go real narrow.
Right,
Well, in the
It's
third
not-
example, then the full circle
Right.
would go outside.
yeah,
Would continue
Right.
and go outside, so
Right.
you're better off with the half circle, I think.
I mean, you could still write it so the
Building
full
department's
circle
gonna
can
have to
go
use the
outside.
full circle anyway, I mean,
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
The thing that's from a geometric thing, the full circle is you always have the tangents on the circle. You know, that's the outermost point, that's the tangent. That's a tangent. When people start doing semicircles, you hope they're not just doing that.
Well, it's gotta have the right diameter.
It's gotta have the right diameter, yeah.
Yeah,
So a
exactly.
circle has the full diameter, you're not
Right.
playing with the arc.
Well, you're gonna work off of a full
Yeah.
full circle, no matter how, I
Right, and
mean,
then you would just go like that.
if you're using a compass, it only goes one way.
Well, I
Yeah.
think that's what didn't I last time? This is the way Jay and Patrick will be enforcing it. right?
Well, it's
Yeah, you brought
180
it right
degrees,
there.
Yeah,
right?
okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's how they would enforce it.
You play with your stencils?
All those templates gotta come out of your budget, though.
Tight budget.
You know, they would take a plan, whatever scale it's at, determine what size needs to be from the circle,
Yeah.
and try to run.
Right, but if somebody
Came
did
to
try
this
and
meeting yesterday.
use only part of
And I
the,
forgot
just an
about it
arc
today.
rather than the full half circle. The semicircle, I looked up
Usually you
definitions,
text
is definitely 180
Right,
degrees.
so you're not doing this.
The-
You're
the-
not
the-
doing the- right.
The diameter is specified depending on what zone you're in. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't get away from that. Morning.
Okay.
Morning.
Did you still
Sorry.
sleep late?
No, I came to this yesterday and they were all laughing at me.
So,
And then this morning, there was a chamber meeting at my shop, so I sat in on the meeting, because I'm the president. I sat in on a meeting, and then she texted me, oh, shit, I forgot about this one.
so Jay, what is your input reading?
No, this is fine, because this can't narrow down too much, because no matter what, this is always gonna be 75.
Right.
Right,
So it
and
can only
there's
narrow-
only so many feet between.
Yeah, if you're 125 up here, you can only narrow so much, because you're always gonna have to have 75 here.
Right.
Right.
Does that make it easier for you
Unless
than
they do
how it is?
something
Do
crazy
you wanna
like this.
concentrate your flag lot? And then,
Yes,
because that's
I mean, you,
you, and then we can hopefully put this to bed.
Yeah.
We don't want, I didn't wanna move on to this whether you're not here, because you were part of the.
so I
What?
changed it, the flag lot
Satisfied.
provisions, I changed it to 75 like we had talked about, so the pole has to be the same width the whole way.
Nice.
It can't
That was
funnel.
my biggest concern.
And the, no two flag lots can have contiguous frontage, so the poles can't touch.
No, yeah,
Which is what we
Perfect.
talked about, yeah.
So you
I
can't,
think
you
we're
can't
good.
have if you had 150 feet of frontage,
It can't
you
look like
can't
that,
go
Bill.
one of them left and one of
One
them
of them
right.
right.
Instead of doing
two
this-
poles can't touch each other.
Instead of doing this, Bill, this second flag would have to be this.
Over there, yeah.
Right.
So one flag.
So you don't end up with two driveways right together.
Right.
I'm,
It also complies with our 30-foot driveway would help with our 30-foot driveway separation.
and you guys are all set with that.
So 30 foot, how is that gonna work where the houses are built like already and they're too close? And they wanted to redo their driveway, would that affect them?
They have to get, if they can't comply with the 30-foot separation, which is really just a policy at this point, they would have to come in front of the planning board and ask for relief.
Even to redo their driveway?
Not if you have existing.
Driveway.
I mean, like.
There's
you
a
know,
driveway that's non-conforming
Right, so-
now and they wanna repave it.
Yeah,
No, no, no.
that doesn't
doesn't
affect
count.
That isn't what
them.
you mean, I
Oh,
don't think.
That's what she meant, right?
Is that what you meant?
You're talking about an existing house next door.
Yeah, an existing house next door, like there's not enough between them two.
Right, we have a
And
lot
that
of-
house is sold, and then what does that do? Does that affect, like, what is in existence anywhere by doing that?
So are you talking about an existing driveway?
Next to a
Yeah.
new flag.
Next to a new flag?
If there isn't enough room for that 30-foot separation,
There would have to, because you have to have 75 feet.
It would force the driveway over to one side of that pole.
What if it's in the middle, though?
Well, they can't.
You've got 15 feet,
but
and you'll still
I
have
think
30
part
on
of
either side.
Jill's question is, the existing homeowner could then be put in a position to have to move their driveway?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Is that
Yeah,
what you were
that's what I
asking?
care about, yeah.
Why,
The
why
nice thing
wouldn't we
about-
just say a driveway can't be, it has to be 15 feet away from the property line? Why can't we just say that?
That's
what we
on our
proposed.
whiteboard.
We don't.
Huh?
We proposed that a while back.
I mean, that would
We
just,
don't do it in the residential district, just commercial, industrial.
no, but wouldn't that solve every problem? For, that we're talking about? If you said, no, every driveway has to be 15 feet away from a property line,
In my
Because
neighborhood,
in
it
a
would
sub-
never fit.
Well, when you do a subdivision, you might want all the driveways on the right side.
And you know what, in
And
my,
it might only be 10 feet from the property line, and it's
Yeah.
okay.
some of the driveways, they're actually shared.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's
Well,
one
the older
driveway
ones,
and they
yeah.
own half and the other, but it's tarred like between the two
yeah, well,
houses. But
You
it's
can't do
shared.
that anymore.
You're not
That's
gonna-
existing,
We want a
right?
5-foot landscape buffer between the driveway
Yeah,
and the
that would
property
never
line.
happen.
Right,
You
but
can
they're
have shared
existing,
driveways.
so you
Yeah.
don't have to worry about existing. They're not gonna go back and say, tear your driveway out,
So they're
you,
talking about-
you don't have one anymore.
But if you were doing a new subdivision, I don't think, it might not be,
Yeah, I don't like the 15 feet.
it might be unnecessary.
Then my house would
As
be
long as you have
non-compliant.
30 feet between them, it doesn't matter if one driveway is.
So it just, the only thing with the 30 feet is it just becomes first come, first serve.
Correct.
That's,
Yeah,
It's almost like-
unfortunately, yeah, it
That's what we
does.
have now.
that's what we have now. But, you know, I could just see somebody like me walking and say, well, his is right on a property line, why can't I, you know? And then it's like, well, you
Yeah.
gotta be 30 feet away from it. Kind of 30 feet, that takes a big chunk out of a lot.
And so like, Bridget, here's a question for you. If it's already in existence, like how would that hold up in a court of law if Kate ever had to like go to court because of that?
What do you mean?
Like if you're expanding it and you're making it different and people say, well, here's one right beside me, like, could they sue us because of that?
So if
if we-
somebody makes their driveway more non-conforming,
More not.
Right.
right,
Well, you can't.
Well,
You
how
can't-
would
you
do
can't
that?
make
Would
some-
be able to-
You can't make something more non-conforming.
Without,
It's either
without
is or
special
it's not.
relief, without special
Right.
relief.
Yeah. You can make something more non-conforming.
With special permission.
right, and if you
You'd have to
don't
go to Board of
permission-
Appeals or whatever the process is.
If you don't have
Yeah.
permission, then you don't really have grounds.
You keep going back to existing, why?
I don't know, I hope that it doesn't change, like, I mean, what about when the tornado happened? And all them homes got destroyed and they had to rebuild? Like, would that affect, like, a natural disaster? Or would that just be by right, that it was there and they got to do it again? Or would they have to,
Back when the tornado happened, actually, the planning board rewrote a whole section in order to address the tornado, and
You
it,
can do it by right if it's in the same footprint, but
Right.
you have to do it within a specified time period.
Right.
that-
right,
Or request an
really?
Extension.
extension.
And we
which is-
have that in,
That's
right
correct.
now, that's correct.
Yeah, so if damaged by fire or natural disaster
Yeah.
or something like that, people have the right to rebuild what was there, whether it's conforming or non-conforming or any of that, as long as they do it within a certain window of time.
Does that only, you know, that 75% rule? Does that apply to that?
That goes away,
That goes away,
that goes
okay,
away for a natural disaster.
okay,
There's also protection with the state, Mass General
Yeah.
Law 40A, so.
okay. All right, so I guess that's why.
You're good.
Right, most of the pre-existing non-conforming is regulated at the state level.
Okay.
Are we good on
Yep.
lot width?
I hope so.
What is flag, what is that under, flag width, is that under lots, or where's
So-
the definition of that?
So
It's gonna have to be a new section, I think, right?
it would be the definition
would
section.
Stay the same, but go ahead.
Rick has a definition, a building lot complying with, he has reduced frontage requirements, ours wouldn't be reduced. And providing a greater lot area than the minimum requirements. So we would just need to come up with a definition of flag lot. And then these standards that I wrote out would go later in the lot area dimension, area type bulk.
You had a definition for flag lots, right? That was pretty good?
Well, somebody must have.
I thought,
specified.
Yeah, it might be
I
hard to
thought you
find.
had it.
Another community that would be able to look that.
You could then just refer to lot width, the definition of lot width, so.
Yeah, that would be easy.
Okay.
So just someone tell me where we stand.
I-
We're good with,
We're good with what's
We're moving
proposed.
on to
but-
M.
no, but, so the only, what are we doing for lot width? Just the flag? What's not completed? You know, that I understand, we're all good.
Yeah, and so all we need to do is come up with we need a definition for a flag lot.
And we're
So
good
put a
to move on.
definition in the definition.
So Allison, can you come up with that for the next meeting?
Which would be
Yeah.
from, I'm assuming we can just,
Yeah.
Great,
from-
okay.
there's another community. And then when we get to the actual part where the provisions are there, this is the suggestion that she has,
Good.
which is what we.
I mean, other communities call them different things too, but she'll figure that out.
Yeah, is everybody okay with flag lot? I prefer it over the.
Yeah.
You prefer what?
Flag lot,
That's
What's
fine.
another word for it?
Might as well call it what it is.
pork shape, pork chop,
I mean, that's what we've always called it,
Flag lots.
so if there's no,
hammerhead lots.
Somebody ever referred to them as estate lots?
Rick called it an estate lot, which again, I don't.
An estate lot?
Yeah, because, you know, if someone had a piece of property, they carved it out. So
Flag lot.
I mean, I think it should stay as flag lot because that's what we used, that's what we've used forever, so why confuse it?
Okay, so we're moving on to major appliance.
I haven't.
So we really haven't done
So-
anything, that's literally what you guys did for the 2 meetings?
Under flag lots,
It is, Bridget.
We did a lot.
We
No,
spent-
you did, this is great, you guys did a lot of work, but I just mean like, I didn't know if we went ahead and then went back.
Hell no.
No,
If
no.
anything, we went
We
backwards.
stayed right there.
All right, just so we're gonna stick with that, Jay, you think it's fine?
Yep.
It's, you could read that and apply it and understand it.
You could use your stencils and draw it, right?
Of course.
Perfect with your crayons?
Yeah, I do like number 4 too, because there was always a question on a flag lot where the frontage was and the setback. And we always had arguments with builders saying the setback's on the street and they wanted to push the house way forward on the line.
What's number 4, the 40-foot?
No
40 foot,
portion,
because
yeah.
that addresses that issue of
Yeah.
where the setback is. So now, if you have a flag that comes over and goes over, and they can't push that house close to the front, you know, to get more of a backyard, because now, you know, before, they were saying, well, the setback's on the street, and, you know, me and Patrick always argued, no, it's from the other line. And this, number 4 addresses that, so.
You see what he's talking
Can-
about? If this is the street, some of the builders think 40 feet, that's their front yard setback, and they can put the house
As close to that as they can, yeah.
down there.
It could be
Now,
right on
this-
somebody's back
This
line.
hypothetically becomes your front yard, and you have to be 40 foot back from
Yeah.
that point.
Right, because the guy in front of you could put a shed, what, how far off that
10
property line?
10
10 feet.
10 feet, yeah.
So now you got nothing between, which guy would be stupid to do
Or they
that.
push it real forward, you got no privacy, that the guy, you're taking away the privacy, they
Oh, the guy in
push the
front of him.
backyard.
Right. No, this is good.
The special permit component of the flag lots is nice, because it does protect.
Yeah, where are we going with that? So
yeah,
Allison
I
can
know
drive
that.
it, can write that up. I think it should go to the planning board.
Yeah. I mean, what would be, what's your other this is blank,
It's
is
either
what's the other
planning or
option?
zoning,
So
because
it's-
some towns do zoning board.
Doesn't our process,
Plan, right?
planning board, that is
Yeah.
zoning?
Planning?
Zoning board gives relief for dimensional requirements for other, and
I don't
not,
think-
and
zo-
not like variance with like special permit.
The problem I have with
Okay.
zoning, Board of Appeals, it's a negative thing.
I agree.
Everything
This
that
is
goes
how
there,
it
it's
works.
like it's a problem.
Yeah.
That's
I
not
agree
what
with
this is about,
And
you know?
there's not as
If they
many
disagree
people
with
either.
whatever the planning board does, then they have an opportunity to go to Board of Appeals, but
Right.
you shouldn't go to a courtroom before you need to.
Right.
That's my
It
opinion.
sounds like you're automatically arguing
Yeah,
about it, when you're really
Well,
not
we-
arguing about it, we're just trying to,
well, if you,
Yeah.
right. I don't know, I think
you're
planning,
appealing
but
it on your
whatever.
first, it's being first heard in an appeals court.
And there's more people on planning than zoning.
Yeah.
Well, that,
That
yes,
might change.
that's in the process of changing.
Right, but
I don't
for-
think it'll be is they going for 5?
You might go for 5.
That's what they're going for, right?
Yeah.
3 to 5.
5 members.
So it's gonna be close to the same.
Yeah.
I think it belongs with the planning board. It's almost like a subdivision.
Yeah, it's not, again, it's not a,
Yeah.
it's not an argument, it's, okay, what do I need to do this?
It's almost always
So
gonna
say
be a
planning
plan A
board?
anyways, right? Or, what do you call it?
Yeah.
A and R?
And the A&R is always goes through the planning board, it's somewhat
Right.
of a semi, not subdivision, A&R, not approval, approval not required, so,
Planning board?
And you know what, it makes it
Okay.
easier for the applicant, cause now he can do the A&R and then go right to the special permit at the
No.
same night.
No,
Why?
because you need a 20-day appeal period to lapse before they can,
On an A&R?
because they need the 20-day appeal period on the special permit needs to lapse, and then they can go for the A&R. Because somebody can appeal it.
He goes for a special permit before he does an A&R?
well,
Because
he
you can't endorse
proposes an
the
A&R,
A&R
and then he has
unless,
to get it through a special permit.
you can't endorse an A&R for a flag lot until they've gotten a special permit. And the special permit, the state mandates that there's a 20-day appeal period so that the neighbors can appeal it.
Does that matter if it goes through zoning or
But the
planning? Is
A&R
it the
doesn't
same
require
thing?
a hearing.
So it's the same either way?
At that point.
Whatever.
It never.
I thought-
If it's the same either way, still
I
let it
just
go
thought it
through
would help the
planning.
guy, but that didn't,
Yeah.
whatever, that's fine.
So it wouldn't be the same, but I'm just saying, it wouldn't be the same thing.
The A&R is an A&R. The A&R does not constitute a building lot.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say, that, why
The
can't,
special permit
Does.
is what would,
Yeah,
this
I guess
process
you,
would.
no.
he
I guess
could
you're
do an
right.
A&R, turn it into a flag lot, and then be told he can't use it.
No, you're
Exactly.
right.
Then he has
So
to
he can
go
do it
through-
all the same
then he
night.
would have to go through the special permit
Right.
process to see, but they need the special permit process now. Any engineer doing A&Rs is gonna have to realize there's new regs now. That lot size is
Right.
bigger, the widths have to be, and so forth and so on.
Right.
So
No,
if
you're
they want
right.
it to be a buildable lot, they're gonna have to comply with the special
Right.
permit thing.
But they-
A&Rs are A&Rs.
Right.
You have to write them if it's legal access,
Well,
And it doesn't require a hearing.
doesn't require a hearing.
No, it just comes to the planning board, we do it.
Very clearly states on all of them that this is not, this plan does
It
not
would
constitute
be
a
wise
buildable
for
lot.
people to do the special permit first, I would think.
I mean, theoretically, they could come, get an A&R for the flag lot, go for the special permit, get denied the special permit, and then they have to go do another A&R and turn it back the way it was.
Yeah.
That's really all, I mean, it's,
That's foolish on their part, but yeah, they
but
could.
all I'm saying is if they wanted to do the A&R and the special permit in one night, because they don't want to pay their engineer and attorney to come twice, they could do it.
Yeah, no, you're right, they can.
Okay,
that's
moving
good.
on.
Yeah.
I have one more question, I'm sorry.
Is it about existing, or?
No.
Okay. All right.
So we keep on talking about residential, residential, residential. What about commercial? Like, this affects commercial too, right?
Flag lots?
Well,
Like all this, all that we're
lot
talking about.
width. Lot
Yeah.
width is applicable for every lot in town, whether it be commercial or residential.
Yeah,
Well, you could
okay.
have a flag lot.
You could have a flag lot for commercial.
You could.
So this affects commercial and, we just never really talked a lot about commercial. It's all been about residential.
Usually big
The lot width is
Yeah, the
applicable
frontage
to
is
all
different.
lots in town.
Isn't the
Except
frontage
that the frontage
different?
in commercial is 50 feet, not 75.
No, but if they wanted to put a
The
flag
minimum,
lot,
I
they'd
mean.
have to have 75. The way we're doing it right now, if somebody wanted to put a flag lot in commercial,
Anywhere, 75.
right, but I'm just saying, if they put a regular lot, it's 50 now,
But that's gonna change theirs to 75 too, right?
just the flag lot.
No,
Yes,
just flag lots?
Just flag.
Okay. But they're,
Huh? No, I'm okay with it. I think 50 feet's small for anything, but
and 50 feet, that's not gonna change to the new for residential? That's
No, we have 75 for residential.
75 for residential, what for commercial?
50.
And that's not gonna change?
As of now, it's not.
Not the minimum frontage, no.
Okay, so that's gonna stay the same.
Unfortunately,
There's frontage
we're
and
just
lot
doing
width, they're
definitions.
different.
When we get to the other end of the book, we might
Maybe
think
next
different.
year we can have, we'll just put a note that we talked about that in August of 2017.
Okay,
And we have commercial flag, there's like one right across the street over on Russell Street. Police
Yeah.
auto body, that's a flag, that's a commercial flag lot.
What is-
Patera,
Is it Patera?
Collision.
on Westfield
Oh,
Street?
yeah,
Right over here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Patera.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
That's
commercial
a
flag lot.
commercial
Oh, that's
flag
true.
lot. But that
yeah,
ain't 75 feet.
No,
no,
they probably got
He
50.
probably got his
Yeah.
50.
They got 50 for the driveway,
So-
goes in the back, and then.
okay.
the
I was
auto
just curious, because we said nothing about commercial, I was just wondering.
Okay. You done?
Are we good?
Yep.
Now we're on to the end, this is a big day.
Well, we did 3 Ms already.
You did?
Yeah. We're on Medical Dental Center Clinic, right?
Should we let Jay
Yeah,
go?
Jay can go.
Okay.
Or he can
You don't
stay.
have to, you can stay.
I don't
Staff
need to
go.
go over
We're
the
on
definition of medical.
Dental Center?
I know what it is.
I don't even know anymore.
Medical Dental Center
A building
Clinic.
or group of buildings used for the offices and facilities
Thank you for your help.
accessory to
But not
Practice.
veterinarians.
Okay,
lost. Doesn't make sense to me.
So it's a clinic, not a hospital.
What's the accessory? What does that mean?
Facilities accessory to the.
Accessory to the practice, accessory to a physician's office.
So you can't have a physician's office in it? A
building
building,
or group of buildings used for the offices and facility accessories. So it could be the office and like maybe like, I guess maybe I think of the cataract
Right. they
things,
let
are-
out.
so they have like a little surgery center in there.
Yeah.
So they have an office and then they have facilities accessory to the practice.
so I'm thinking office as paperwork office. You're
Yes.
thinking office as the doctor's office where I go in and he takes my blood pressure?
Right, but then when you got, so they have the cataract laser, they have the one where you sit and they look at your eyes with the
Right.
stuff. But then they also have a surgery center where you go and get your cataract removed.
Yeah.
In the same building.
So it's in the same building.
But I could care less about that anyway, so whatever you
Yeah.
guys wanna do. It's confusing to me, but I don't care.
It's
Well, I
everything
think
but,
because
everything
we
but
think of, like,
inpatient, is
accessory,
really
when
what
we
it
use
is.
accessory
Whatever
everywhere
you
else,
wanna
it's
do
like,
except keep somebody there.
it almost sounds
No,
like
no
it's like
overnight stays.
an additional
It's the way I read it.
building, like an additional, do you know what I mean?
Couldn't we just put that?
Yeah,
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, as we say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why couldn't it be
accessory
that
structure,
easy?
It's like, it's a garage or like a.
Is that, Bill just summed it up. It's almost anything medical except sleeping over. Is that correct?
Inpatient,
Right, 'cause
right?
it's.
Yeah.
Is there anything but,
It does not include inpatient facilities.
Or veterinary.
Right.
or what?
Veterinarian.
Dogs.
Dogs, it's just for.
People.
Doctors.
Oh,
right, so it could be like a walk-in clinic.
So we could make it a lot smaller, no overnight facilities.
or just leave it.
Well,
I think we should leave it.
inpatient is it's the industry description, so you
Right.
Right.
should
Either
stay within
outpatient
the
or
industry, I
inpatient.
would think.
Yeah,
So just leave it?
I'm fine with leaving it.
Alright, cool. Huh.
Medical
So,
marijuana.
So in the old one, we have the membership club, which we've already addressed,
Yeah.
so we're good with that.
I'm sorry, what?
We're,
Definition.
We're supposed to use the Wellfleet definition, right?
Yeah,
And that,
it's already done.
Are we skipping over to medical marijuana treatment?
Um,
Oh, yeah, that's on the other, on the other one.
Yeah, it's in the new one, not in the
so it's
old.
in the new one, because it's, yeah, I mean, it's part of that, the ordinance. Well,
So she
skipping
changed
over it, I
it.
mean, she took it from, the medical marijuana treatment center is taken from, I'm assuming how it's defined in the state regulation.
Yeah, I don't think we should mess with that one if it's,
Well, it's in the old one, we have registered marijuana dispensary. She takes some language from that.
oh, a treatment center. What
Well,
the,
because there was an RMD, and what's the other one, RMD?
Oh,
and,
MMD. Just-
are the medical ones not for profit?
yes.
Oh, they are?
They have to.
Yeah, so there's
Off-site
off-site,
medical.
right.
So I think she was trying to combine. 'Cause honestly, I don't understand the difference myself.
You what?
I mean, I do understand the difference, but I don't understand why.
Because on the off-site, the dispensary,
It's different from the growing operation.
correct. And they're defined differently because you can have, if you could have one, or you could have both in your,
Yes,
So
the
they have
state
to be-
allows you,
Right.
yes.
And then the whole recreation
And now
thing
it's just
is
gonna
gonna
throw all
be,
that
it's
out
gonna
the
be
window.
all screwed
All
up.
different.
So she has still the off-site medical marijuana dispensary.
So should we just come back to that whole thing
I
after?
would leave that, cause I think
Yeah.
we could work on this for a while, and then
They change
regulations
it.
are gonna come out,
Yeah.
and you're gonna have, it's gonna be different. So I would leave that, I think there'll be enough to address that.
Should that go on
By
our,
the time we finish that, that's gonna.
right, should that go on our punch list for when we're
Yeah,
done,
that's
go
gonna-
back to
Yeah,
marijuana?
it's
Yeah.
gonna have to be added, but
Yeah.
it's gonna depend on what the town does in terms of recreational marijuana
We could
too.
do like a tour of one and
Samples.
eat some brownies and
Yeah.
decide how we're gonna write it.
Do my best thinking that way.
Excuse me?
I do my best thinking that way.
Eating brownies?
Yeah.
At a
Special
marijuana
one.
facility.
The special ones.
Back in our day, we
okay,
called them
so
what, hash brownies or something?
mixed use
Oh, what are
building.
you talking about? Mixed-use building, single building with the ground floor used primarily for retail, commercial, service, or office use, and the upper floor is used for residential use. No use non-residential shall be allowed above a residential use.
So you can have a store above a house.
That's hard to read though. No
It
use,
is.
non-residential use.
Well, there's too many uses. in
Yeah,
there.
there's a
I
couple
think
uses.
it should be no non-residential use shall be allowed.
Got it. That makes sense. Is that fine?
Yep. Do we have that now, or is that new?
That's
This
new.
is in the new one.
We don't have anywhere that specifically allows mixed use.
But in the master plan, they've asked for that. I think that's where that came from.
It's pretty
I thought,
well established that it's a successful model.
So,
okay, 'cause I thought we had mixed use, I thought that's what, I always mix it up. VA1, so, Calabrese Market, those are mixed use buildings, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think.
And I thought that was
you're right, it's-
unique, VA1 is like
It's
unique to that Park Street area, which is like that
Yeah.
historic area where that was the thing. Like
Yeah,
where you would
it's-
have
Yeah.
the short, the,
yeah,
And
your,
then
The
your
way it's
family
written,
your
lives
family
only
lives upstairs and you work the
20%
store.
Can be business related or
Uh-huh.
something.
That's like Gavoni's Market there, what,
right,
on,
Elm
Bal-
Market, Sister
Bal-
Line.
Baldwin.
But that's,
Yeah.
business anywhere. residents
So why,
are allowed.
why are we not allowing resident on the bottom and commercial on the top? I mean, I know the logic behind it, but
'Cause
why
of
would
the
we
noise.
restrict that? But that, why is that,
That's up to them to decide.
right, why is it up to
Yeah.
the government to decide whether they can live under a noisy business? I don't know, I'm just,
I think too, it may be about like the aesthetics of it, so like, it looks like, I just think of the so if you were to take Calabrese Market and put it upstairs and make those apartments that are upstairs into the house, like they're
You
resident,
want
they're
the
gonna look
glazing
different.
in the window, like the storefronts on the
Yes.
street level,
Yeah.
that's, yes.
And not just that, but I mean, you
That's
need
fine.
like handicap accessible to like the second floor.
right, but again, if
But
someone
why
wants
should
to
you
invest the
pay for
money,
an elevator in
yeah,
there
if they
and-
wanna
Yeah.
pay to put the elevator, and that's their
But
headache.
I think it's about the way it looks.
It's, and you're thinking of existing scenarios, and it's not really, those aren't the issue, it's if we had like a brand new mixed-use development that went in, you want the storefronts on the first level. It's a more successful,
Business model,
yeah.
because you have the foot traffic.
Well, what if they're not
walking by.
storefronts? What if they're,
Even if it's offices, you want the glazing.
lawyers' offices?
You want the glazing, they call it, it's the windows, the
windows.
visual, the experience of walking in a mixed-use area. You don't wanna be looking in people's bedroom windows. You
I mean,
wanna
look
be
at all the
looking
cities around us, Amherst, Northampton, they
Okay,
all have their businesses
good.
on the bottom and residents up.
Mobile home,
Oh, well. The definitions are different. A prefabricated housing unit built on a wheel chassis. A dwelling unit built on a
Seems okay.
the new definition seems okay. I think the prefabricated housing unit is better than a dwelling unit.
Yeah,
Prefabricated housing unit built on a wheeled chassis under Federal Building Code administered by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and designed to be installed on a temporary or permanent foundation for permanent living quarters. This shall not include the type of vehicle known as
So didn't we touch upon that with the trailers?
camping trailers are a thing of the past, they're recreational vehicles.
We talked about, right. We talked about that when we did the definition of camper, right? Wasn't it camper?
Well, first of all, they're not camper trailers, they're
No.
camping trailers, and that's a thing of the past. They're now recreational vehicles, which covers towed, fifth wheels, motor homes.
Right, which is what we talked
Right,
about when we
so
went
it-
over it.
So we're
I
gonna
have
change
in my
that.
notes, remove and replace with recreational vehicle.
So we should do it there too.
Yeah.
Just really cross out camper trailer, make it rec vehicles.
so with this, I know that, in some places it's been a little bit controversial, them little homes.
Tiny homes?
Yeah,
No, we shouldn't even allow them, to be honest.
would that, would that go with that? Is that, I mean.
No,
not
because that's
prefab.
not,
No,
it's
It's not
not,
necessarily prefab.
it isn't,
and it's not
okay.
built under federal code administration.
Right.
These
so
guys
one
are
of the
building their own-
issues, They're not, they don't comply with building or
Which is the
state
Okay.
sanitary
stupidest thing
code.
I've ever seen in my life.
Just curious.
There's one on,
Yeah,
what is that,
Sibley, I think.
Sibley?
Oh, really?
Supposedly he's moving.
What do you mean? Where is it?
It's in their driveway. He built it in their driveway, which is fine. And supposedly they're packing up and living the life.
It's on the market.
Huh?
I think I would.
I think the
would
house
live
is on the
dead in
market.
there.
The house is on the market?
If I
Yeah.
would live with my husband in a tiny house.
I know that
there'd
would
a
be
murder
bad.
charge. Like, there'd be a murder charge. How do you, that's gotta get old real.
Yeah, and I don't wanna see him go to jail.
Right.
Like, why wouldn't you just buy a camping trailer? What the hell you need that for?
Yeah.
Oh, they don't make camping trailers, recreational
What is
vehicles,
it?
sorry.
Stop using the old term.
Be specific
All right.
about electrical,
Mobile.
plumbing and sanitary.
Mobile home park,
And they removed it from this one.
Any
This one.
plot
Because
Oh,
it's,
hold on one second.
the new one
Oh, I'm
summarizes
sorry.
it by,
Under
the
the
HUD,
housing,
the
okay,
HUD
okay.
requirements. It was just an easier way to summarize it.
So are we gonna address tiny houses somewhere? We need to, at some point.
I mean, you can have one if it meets state building code and sanitary code and you have a
We
lot
have a
to put
minimum
on.
size in town, don't we still? Square footage?
Yes,
A house?
yes.
Yeah,
We do?
yeah,
A dwelling unit has to be a minimum of like 600 square feet, I think.
it's in there somewhere.
So that would
Yes,
work.
I think that's like a building.
Which is not very
Big.
big, that's 20 by 30. The hell, my motorhome's more than that.
I don't know where it says that, if it even says it here, but it is, I think that's like a requirement of the state building code.
I could just see
Have
someone
600 square
Mhm.
feet.
plotting out a tiny home farm.
I
Well,
just,
it's
You're
kind
right,
of-
I
it
can see it too.
would, they would have to be situated on lots that conform to the
Right.
requirements.
So we're
So
on,
it's a small home on a big lot, that's
Yeah,
really all it
that
is.
looked really funny.
I mean, by all means, if it's got plumbing and everything, sure.
but it's on wheels. It's a
The
freaking
one up in,
trailer.
where's the one, up in Hadley, is that on wheels? The one they had the big controversy?
yeah,
about?
that's what I remember,
Tiny
is them
homes are on
fighting
wheels,
about it
aren't
all
they?
the time.
No,
They usually, you tow them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the one on Sibley, he's towing it, he's traveling with it, and then they park it.
but see, that's what I mean,
I
it's
see what
on a
Bill-
wheeled
Doesn't that become a wreck
chassis.
vehicle?
It
All I'm
says-
saying is, you know, a recreational vehicle is manufactured. You know, I could build a tiny home on wheels in my house. Where are we gonna classify that? Is that a recreational vehicle? Is that a mobile home? Or is that a house on wheels, or is it just a house?
Where are you gonna park it?
Well, you can't.
Behind you.
Like theoretically, that guy on Sibley Ave, that trailer should be on the side or behind his house. It's illegally parked. Like my motorhome.
So that's a different issue.
Makes it a different issue,
All I'm saying
Depends on
is,
what you're classifying it as.
yeah.
Well,
Like right now, you're saying it's a trailer, cause it's on wheels.
if it's a permanent living quarters, it needs its own lot, period. If it's a recreational vehicle, it has to be on the side or behind the house.
But how do they classify a tiny house, I guess that's
can
the
you imagine
question.
that guy
Depends on
on
where you're using it.
that guy on Sibley Ave decides that's his trailer and he's gonna park it next to your house?
wait, does
On
it
the
have
side
to
of-
be in a driveway though? Does it-
No.
No,
No.
they can just park it next to your house and be on your property line?
Eh, like my
That's
camping,
offensive.
my recreational vehicle can be parked right on the side of the house.
That's ugly, that's not, how did that lie?
Well, again, that's the problem, like how are you gonna,
How do you police
how are
that?
you gonna police or differentiate a recreational vehicle?
Is it permanent housing or temporary? Is it for recreational excursions or is it or are you living there?
So they can just answer it however they wanna answer it.
Well,
So can I
that's-
live in my recreational vehicle on in my yard?
No.
Only when your wife throws you out.
Only
So basically, I should be in there all the time.
You should be starting to think about it.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be renting that out to a tenant.
I don't
That's,
mind it.
then it's clearly not a recreational
No.
vehicle.
My daughter decides to build a tiny home and she wants to leave it in my yard. It's a trailer.
If she's living there, then no, it's not a recreational vehicle.
Okay.
Yes, it is a fine line, but there really is not any good way that I am aware of to.
I just don't wanna
it's
be
an
in the
ongoing
news.
conversation.
In the
I just
news
don't wanna be in the
arguing like
news
Hadley
because
was,
some
right?
poor guy used his life savings to build a tiny house and West Springfield's trying to screw him and blah, blah. That's all I'm saying. It's something that I think is gonna come up at some point.
Especially with the new generation of
Millennials,
kids.
they do
It's
it.
crazy. They're
I
nuts.
mean, they
Are
don't
you a
care
millennial?
about living space.
They're more European.
I mean, you're nuts, and you could be one, but I just
Yeah.
wondering by age if
Yeah,
you're.
it's like
You're right.
1980.
You're right, I could be, couldn't I?
1980, I got married back then. All right,
Well, you're old.
I mean, obviously, we can move on. I'm just saying, I personally think it's gonna be an issue at some point.
So,
It's not gonna be every day, but it's gonna come up.
so maybe we
As
should
time
think
goes
about on the punch list, we need to have a
Tiny
definition
house.
or a, happens as, right now, we don't have anything on it.
I mean, I don't think the definition's that hard,
No,
you
But
know?
does it have to be on wheels? Like, what do you, I mean,
Well,
No,
it's,
because the tiny homes don't have to be on wheels, you can like pull them up on.
tiny house is like a shed, right? Is that,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
it
what
could be
I'm
like a
thinking of, is
slab.
like a shed.
I
But
thought they were on
you
wheels.
can't have two dwelling units on the same lot,
Right, so
so
that's what I mean, it's how you're using it is really what's defining.
if it's not on wheels, then, I mean, you can't finish off the shed in your backyard and have somebody living there.
No,
There's already a regulation that I believe governs that.
So you think leave it for now?
yes,
I don't like the fact that there's recreational vehicles, you talk about aesthetic looks, that somebody can have this huge thing right, how did that get passed?
no, guys.
It
Come-
should be behind
come-
it.
Yeah, we,
Come park by my neighbor, I mean, come drive by
But
my
I mean,
house.
everyone's talking about
Bridget.
like, the looks of this or that, and it's just like, that's
Yeah.
ugly. I have seen that.
But
I
it's its own
just thought it was
property.
illegal. Yeah, but it butts yours, and everything else is all these other rules.
Yeah,
It's
but if
like,
I wanna
how
plant
ugly
ugly
is that?
flowers next to, right on my property line, and you think they're ugly, I like them.
Right, but that's.
I mean, you have the
that's
option-
different than
Yeah.
a huge, you know, recreational vehicle.
But you have the option to put up you know,
Fence
trees,
or- yeah.
you could put up arborvitae's, you could put up a
That's what
fence.
I know, I'm just surprised.
Mobile home park?
A plot of ground upon which two or more mobile homes occupied or intended to be occupied for dwelling or sleeping purposes are located for periods longer than 90 days. Wow,
should be a plot of
pretty
land.
restrictive, huh?
Ground is-
Any fun?
plot of land.
Fine.
Plot of ground, plot of land upon which two or more mobile homes, which are defined, occupied or intended to be occupied for dwelling or sleeping purposes. Okay, so if someone's storing a couple, when we say intended
Like
occupancy,
Occupied.
where they are.
One and nobody moved in yet.
Yeah.
What?
Like the intended to be occupied is if you build a mobile home park and.
Yeah, now you just gotta get people to rent it.
fill
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, that's.
Like you're renting it out, kind of,
So you could have a plot of land
or selling it.
that meets requirements and just put a couple of these on and you could have another park?
Well, somewhere else in the
It's
bylaw,
zoned.
there's or in the
There are
ordinance,
restrictions.
there's
Only
a
certain zones.
mobile home park regulations, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So mobile home space, if we go to that, you're gonna change the same thing, Allison, a
That's
plot
kind of
of
odd-
land?
That's kind of an odd,
Yeah,
like,
should actually
call
say
of a
that.
definition, don't you think? Like,
Mobile home space.
Yeah, is the
A
plot.
plot of land within a mobile home park designed for the accommodation of one mobile, home. What the hell you need that for?
Because you have
Do
to
we
have.
regulate the individual
Spaces.
space?
I think it's like going to a campground, there's
You know what?
campsites.
Right, but do the mobile home regulations say something about minimum requirements in terms of?
I've never.
Because right now, it says two or more, but can you have a mobile home park that has two? Like just
It says a plot of
spaces?
land within a mobile
So,
home park.
right,
Designed for accommodation,
But the mobile
of
home
one-
park says you have to have two or more mobile homes.
right,
Then it becomes a park.
right.
So you have two, but can you have a mobile home park
With one?
with two? No, with two.
look at the mobile home space is no different than a campsite. You know,
Right.
they're just saying, okay, we
But
got,
what I'm saying is, when you said, why do we even need that, do we have something
No,
in
I think we do.
regulations
I
that?
agree. I think all you need to do is change it to land from ground.
Mobile
Yeah.
home parks, yeah, there's buffers, density requirements. Yeah, we have setbacks, 4,000 square feet for each mobile home.
So just change it to land instead of
Yeah.
ground
Yeah.
and leave it?
What about calling it mobile home lot? Space just makes no
That's what I,
sense.
that's what I meant
Oh,
when
I'm
I said, like,
sorry.
I think
I
it's
know,
not,
because you don't subdivide it into individual lots. It's one-
They're
just
Uh,
assigned
one parcel.
spaces.
Yeah,
what do you call it, a campground, a site?
A site.
Site.
Mobile home site, is that a space? I mean, I guess it's all tomato,
Yeah.
tomato, but,
Yeah, it does.
Mobile home space just doesn't sound
Gives
right.
you
I know.
better visual, yeah.
We can go-
I don't know if there's really a great way to phrase it.
I mean, if you called it really, what's the difference if you call it a lot? It's a definition. The
Well,
def-
because if a lot gets, right,
Huh?
We
We
define
define
lot
lot.
as,
No, we're defining mobile home lot.
Site,
right, but you don't wanna use within the definition. a
2
lot,
lots.
'cause then
What about
Right, it
site?
says a
it's
plot.
conflicting.
That's why it's a plot to not.
Do we
allow.
have a
We'll
site
just leave it.
definition?
We're not gonna get too many more mobile home parks, that's fine, just leave space.
Yeah, it's,
I'm gonna make one with tiny homes in it.
We have one
Tiny
for
home
site
space?
too.
Tiny home park. What do we wanna do? 9:00?
yeah, I have to be somewhere at 9:30, so.
Okay, so we're done at
We're at
motel.
Motel.
and then is it the 23rd?
Next meeting is
The 23rd.
10 pages left of definitions.
23rd.